Growing up, I had dreams and aspirations, but always felt like the kid that didn't fit in. For the most part, I wasn't a bad kid, but when I made the transition into adulthood, I turned to the streets for guidance. This led to getting locked up in juvenile hall, doing time in CYA, and eventually a 120-month sentence in federal prison. I had a lot of time to think and reflect during my federal sentence, so I share with you what I learned, hoping I can positively influence someone else's life with Prison Talk.
What up? Big Herc 916. You tuned into another edition of Prison Talk. And man, I keep telling you guys, man, this is not a game. You guys think this is Grand Theft Auto or something, man. You can run around, steal, pillage, mug, rob, and then if you get shot or something happens, you can reset the game. Well, there's gonna come a time when these prosecutors aren't gonna be resetting, and they're gonna lock that ass up, and you're not gonna go home for a long time, and you might not have any visits. Your baby mama gonna walk out on you. Your mom might not be able to make it because she's dealing with work and maybe some other family issues. Grandma that used to try to take care of you, she's not gonna be able to get to where you are because of just where you're located, some remote place. Your kids don't want to talk to you. Homies accepting your calls. And it's gonna be lonely. It's gonna be a lonely place, man. And once you're in that lonely place, only thing you could do is try to be mentally strong, because you're gonna have to do that time, man. You're gonna have to do that time, and that time is gonna teach you about who you really are. See, you can't have one foot in, one foot out. There's so many opportunities for you young people out there, but you want to squander away doing things that you think make you somebody or create an identity for you, which is a false reality. And that false reality is setting you up for a failure, because when they start cracking heads and they start prosecuting, they're gonna push some new laws, man. You're about to see some RoboCop shit going down, and this RoboCop shit is gonna be draconian. These sentences, man, shit, it's gonna be a whole nother level. And you thinking that, hey man, I didn't mean it, I didn't do this, I just want another chance. They ain't trying to hear that, man, because they got you on camera. They got you with multiple arrests, and you're not gonna get any breaks. They're not gonna cut you any slack. So before you get in that position, man, weigh out your options. Either you could build a career and think 10 years down the road, or you could build you a rap sheet so that you'll be enhanced when they put you up in there and be affiliated with something, and now be caught up in politics and all that other stuff, man. This shit is serious, man. But you guys, it's the invincibility factor, I guess, that plays a major role, and the fact that you think that you're entitled to this stuff that you're stealing because this is what you have coming. But it's bigger than that, man. These rappers are only the tip of the iceberg, man. They've been pumping you up for failure, glorifying, glamorizing that lifestyle. But at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, they can get time too, man, because they're gonna start tying in a lot of you guys with this RICO, with this conspiracy. And if you never study the law, RICO and conspiracy doesn't require a lot of evidence, hard evidence. It could be a lot of hearsay, and it only takes one person to tell, and it could take down 20, 30, 40 people, man. I've seen indictments with 30, 40 people on them, man. Real talk. And the deal is a decade. See, do you understand what a decade is? Yeah, a decade, 120 months is the deal. So, hey man, you guys can keep doing what you're doing. I'm gonna keep spitting game. Check me out on the Fox News. I did a piece with Jesse Waters talking about the rising crime in America, man. And everybody thinks it's a free for all, but this party's about to come to an end, man. I've seen when it comes to this end, it's gonna be serious, man. Some serious time given out, and you guys gonna be crying like little babies. Believe me, it ain't gonna be nice. So don't say I didn't warn you, man. I keep trying to spit game, but it's up to you to do what you want to do with your life. I've already been there, done that, and it ain't nothing to brag about, man. Big Herc 916.
Jewelry. We're seeing scenes like this all over the country. Criminals on Sunday smashed into a jewelry store here in New York with a sledgehammer. Stole 20 G's worth of gold, chains, and pendants. Jewelry salesman recently attacked in Belle Isle, Florida by criminals who stole almost, you ready, $200,000 worth of jewelry from him. But one guy who can relate to these robberies, probably better than anybody, is Marcus Big Herc Timmons. Big Herc committed an armed robbery in 2000 and spent nearly 9 years in prison for his crimes, and he's used his time in jail to transform himself and is now a mentor and motivational speaker. Big Herc 916 is the host of Fresh Out channel on YouTube. All right, Big Herc, what's going on right now, and what's the motivation, do you think, behind all these waves of smash and grabs?
In my opinion, it's lack of consequence. When you have the promotion of there's not going to be a prosecution, and you think that you will get basically a slap on the risk outweighs anything else. I mean, these people think that literally if they commit a crime today, they'll be out tomorrow. And that in itself is basically setting a lot of these guys on the streets thinking they can get away with something, and the fact that they can walk around legally and cover their face up, that nobody's going to be able to identify them for their crimes.
All right, so it's the bail reform, lack of prosecution, and the COVID situation, because you're allowed to have you look like a bandit, you just look like you're following the science. So when you do get caught, though, you do get locked up, you got to post some bail or something like that. Is that going through their mind at all?
Well, for a lot of these kids or young people, they're not really looking at the long term. And from personal experience, I've never been bailed out of anything. So every time I've been locked up, I had to do the time.
Right.
And if you don't have that opportunity to sit there and kind of reflect on your actions, and you're immediately released back onto the street, you're thinking, oh man, it's a free-for-all. I can do this however many times and until it catches up to me, which most of these guys aren't thinking about it catching up to them.
Do you think if they had had bail reform back in your day, that you probably might still be back out on the street?
I think if they had that situation, it might have took a little bit longer for me to figure it out. I mean, the contributing factor for my change was having a male mentor.
Yeah.
And that mentor in federal prison changed my life as far as giving me advice as a young man. And a lot of these young men who are committing these crimes, they don't have a father figure or a male mentor in their life kind of giving them any positive advice.
Are the father figures more of the older gang leaders who send the young guys out there because they know, if you're underage, under 18, you're probably not going to do as hard of a time?
I don't think it has anything to do with the OG sending them out, because most of these kids are doing it on their own. They're watching social media, they're watching the gangster rap videos, and they're thinking that it's glamorous. It's been really glorified to be a gangster and to commit these crimes. So the OGs who are telling them anything contrary, they're looking at them as being washed up. They're a square now. You're corny. I mean, I've been told that I'm a cornball or sellout now because I'm not really advocating that, and yet I try to give these guys advice because I've lived that life.
All right. Well, thank you for doing what you're doing. We need a lot of Big Hercs all across the United States to start mentoring everybody, because man, this is getting out of control. Thank you so much for sharing your story and your time with us, Big Herc 916.
Thank you.
Lockdown's over. Get your yard time in. Exclusively at FreshOutSeries.com.